It's time for another update. As you can see, I'm feeling a bit better this time, but yeah, unfortunately, it's not me I'm worried about at the moment. I wanted to talk today in this update about how withdrawal affects the people we love. As I say, I'm feeling much more myself, although I have been sleeping a lot, which isn't, it's not about running away, it's not about, well, it can be sometimes, but at the moment it's not. It's more precautionary because I hit a low, as I think I mentioned previously, and I don't want to go back there. And I think it's different to say if you've broken a leg and you can take some painkillers which will help with the pain, but when it's in your head you can't numb that pain. And I use the word pain, but it's not painful, but it is excruciating. And I kind of liken it to like an orchestra, a full orchestra, each person, each musician playing their own discordant tune. And that's kind of, and so if you can imagine that, but just imagine it so loud that it's just overwhelming and it's stabbing at your head and continuous, and it's all you can do to just get through the day when it's like that. So yeah. So now I have to be extra careful, and I don't know whether that's a good way to be. I know things like anxiety, people say push through it, because once you get to the other side, you'll realise it wasn't so bad. The problem is knowing where your boundaries are, and with this, it doesn't seem to be predictable. I don't know. That's why I'm sleeping a lot, because I don't know where these boundaries are that I can push. I could push too far, and then who knows? I mean, we went shopping just up to the supermarket, and after that I was out of it completely. And that's not even a trying thing, but I think it is when you're struggling. Things like housework, where I'm at home a lot. I was training to be a peer support worker, but that's kind of fallen by the wayside a bit because I just completely lost track of everything when this reduction happened. So I'm at home, and usually, even if I was doing lots of things, I would do housework. I probably wouldn't do as much as I should. I get carried away drawing a picture or something, and so at the moment things are getting overlooked. I think, obviously, with the sleeping more, well, unless I can start cleaning in my sleep, that's not really gonna be useful in that sense. But yeah, I think anything I do, I get worn out, and then I need to go home and rest, and I just can't. I'm just out of it then. So it's not, obviously, that housework gets neglected at that point as well. And I think for my wife, the prospect that we don't know how long. Well, today I feel a lot better, a lot more myself, but hopefully over the crest on this drop. But obviously there's no assurances, there's no knowing how long each bout with withdrawal will how long it will take to subside. So I can imagine that's quite stressful for her. And the idea that this is just what's happened recently is just one drop. I was initially on 20 milligrams. I'm now on 12.5, so that's like 3 drops. And to get back to 0 was obviously another 5. So we've kind of the prospect of playing this out again and again and again is I mean, for me it's very distressing and frustrating to kind of imagine that that's the future, when the short term. But for my wife, she's going to have to be with me through all that, and that's going to be hard, especially since life has just had to go on hold. Things I can't do all the things I did on the higher dose because as I said in the past, my brain has been altered by the drugs or the medication, I should say, and is hypersensitive, not just to emotions but to kind of everything, just thinking in general. Everything it's almost like someone's switched on a really bright light, and it hurts at first, but you kind of have to get used to it, and eventually your eyes adjust, and that's how it feels. But I guess it's irony that I'm doing this for my wife, this reduction. I know in a way it's selfish, because I want to be able to feel all the emotions that go along with having children, and at the moment my emotions are dampened. So I think that's understandable that anyone would want to feel that. But on the other hand, I know at the moment I get tired. Part of the reason I get tired is because I'm fighting my way through like this, the medication, the like cotton wool in my head. I'm having to, in order to think anything or do anything which requires thinking, I have to push through this barrier, which is very tiring. I mean, it takes, if anyone, the things that people who are not on medication do, if they would, for me to do, would be like 10 times more tiring, I'd say, because I'm fighting all the time to be conscious, be in my body. So I think you can imagine if we have children, there's going to be a lot of tiredness, a lot of needing to push through this cotton wool, and inevitably I'm not going to be as useful when it comes to caring for the children, bringing them up, and I don't want that. So that's the reason I want to lower the dose, so I can be there. I can help my wife. I can be there, be part of raising our children, and also the other side of it is, my problem at the moment is that as I say, I get knackered through doing very little or relatively little. So my hope is that getting off the medication will will remove the cotton wool, so I can do things and not get worn out, like work, like support my family, which is something I really want to do. And so those are the kind of the reasons, which I think are all fair enough. But obviously there are no assurances. There is the possibility that the medication has damaged my brain irreversibly. Who knows? I mean, that must be quite scary for my wife, the prospect of having to care for someone, care for an adult, not like a grown child, but like another person to care for, which I hate. But I think luckily that's not the way things are looking. Because obviously when the withdrawal is one thing, but now that I think when I get back on a level, when I get over the top of the hill with it, I am more than fine. More, yeah. I think that's the message, is even though there is going to be all this trouble with withdrawal, and I mean this bout has gone on for about just over 2 weeks, and whether it's finished or not, I'm sure I'll keep you up to date on that. So yeah, I think that's about it for today, and thanks for listening.